Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Winter, neurologist and sleep specialist.
What's up? My name is Terry Adams, professional BMX flatland rider.
So tell me, Terry, and first of all, really excited to have the opportunity to speak to you. What made you first start to want to prioritize sleep when it came to your training as a rider?
You know, really, when you think about like a professional athlete, it's all about pretty much testing the full amount we can do physically and mentally. And I started to realize on the competition floor, I started to get a little bit nervous, a little bit of anxiety, and I didn't really know what that was coming from. And when I started to pay attention to sleep, then things started to get much better for me.
You know, you're really at the peak of sort of performance in terms of your career. How do you feel like the younger you dealt with sleep versus the older you now? And by older, you're still fabulously young, but just, you know, as you've matured, what do you think the differences are between that young athlete who might be watching this and somebody with a more seniority?
Yeah, really, I didn't pay attention to sleep at all when I was younger, and I didn't really realize the effects that it was having on me. I wasn't paying attention to what I was eating. I wasn't exercising at the right time. Sometimes I was practicing inside of a garage. I wasn't getting enough sunlight. Things were just, you know, I just wasn't paying attention to those small things that add up to a better night's sleep. So nowadays, I pay attention to everything. I turn off my phone about an hour before I go down. I start winding down about 7:30, and 9 o'clock I'm in bed and I'm ready for a good night's rest.
If you think about all the riders that you know, all the professional riders, how widespread is the idea that sleep and healthy sleep, unjunking your sleep, can actually improve your performance as an elite athlete? Is that pretty widespread knowledge now, or do you think it's still a hidden secret weapon in your back pocket?
You know, I think a lot of people are kind of opening their eyes to it, and they're kind of paying a little bit more attention because now the competition is just, it's getting really fierce. There's more money involved these days. There's more sponsorships. There's a lot riding on that competition day, and there's a lot riding on, is your body rested? Are your muscles prepared? Are you able to think really fast? Are you super alert? And for a while there, I guess my ego was in the way, but I wasn't paying that much attention to those small details. And now that I guess sleep is the number one priority, not only the night before a competition, but pretty much all year leading into training every day.
You know, recovery is a big thing as well that a lot of athletes sort of focus on. How can they keep their body healthy, not get sick if they get injured? And I imagine injury is something that athletes in your sport have to contend with and really probably don't want to be sidelined for long periods of time with. That individuals who concentrate on their sleep can really see not only recovery faster from illnesses and injuries, but there's also sort of emerging research that says individuals who really concentrate on their sleep may be less prone to accidents, injuries, illnesses. I mean, do you see anything like that in terms of your work? Like, how does your body feel now that you're really concentrating on your sleep versus how did it feel maybe in the past?
Yeah, 100%, because, you know, when I don't have a good night's rest, I'm falling more during the day. So like you said, I'm more prone to an injury. So just recently when I started over the past this 2-year journey of getting better sleep, I could just really tell that I'm not falling as much. I'm not putting myself at risk as much. And it's just been great.
I'm interested in hearing more about where you're competing. You know, most of the teams that we're working with are competing within the United States, so their travel is never going to be more than 3 time zones at a time. I imagine your time zone span and travel span is much broader in terms of the outreach that your sport has around the world. How does travel and affect your performance, and how does travel affect your sleep and the strides you're making to get healthier rest?
You know, you're right. What I do is it's very worldwide sport. So, you know, the main tip that I have when I tell other athletes and the other riders that have that same question is I just try to stick to the same schedule that I have at home, because the one thing that's given me like such a great sleep schedule and good night's rest at home is just sticking to the same schedule. So like I said, I start winding down at 7:30, and by 9 o'clock I'm in bed every night. I try not to get in my bed until I go to bed, And that's the same strategy I use when I'm in a hotel room on the other side of the world. I don't get in that bed till I'm ready, and I look forward to it, and I just try to make sure I've exerted as much energy as I can during the day, just like I would at home, and that way when I lay down, I'm ready to go.
When you think about sleep, or when you've competed or practiced, having not gotten the right amount or a good night, where do you feel like you suffer?
So I was super excited to be a part of the sleepdotcom initiative, just because my journey with sleep has just been so incredible. You know, when I think back 2.5 years ago, I would lay in bed and I couldn't go to sleep. My mind was wandering all over the place, so I would turn on the TV and that would make my mind wander more. So then I would go try to get back to sleep again. I would get on my phone, and it was just kind of an endless cycle of not being comfortable in bed and knowing how to get to sleep. So the first thing I did was just learn how to focus on my breathing. So I started doing that in the mornings right when I woke up. I started taking 25 minutes, and call it meditation, call it, you know, practice of breathing, but it really helped me in bed because I would just really focus on those breaths and not think about the future, not think about the past, and eventually just focusing on that breath would put me to sleep, and it's been great.
You know, I love the way you sort of come up with a way to sort of ritualize what you do in bed. And I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here for 20 to 25 minutes, and my job in this present moment is to really focus on my breath. And I think that to hear me say it, or a meditation specialist, or is one thing, but to have a professional cyclist who's sponsored, you know, talk about these types of things is really important, because people are going to hear you say this and think, wow, you know, if this guy who travels around the world and is doing what I want to do thinks it's important, then maybe I should as well too. Are you able to sort of ever mentor younger riders? I mean, obviously, you know, people are looking up to you as a rider's had a lot of success and continues to have success. Are there opportunities that you have with your own platform to sort of spread that message that, hey, you're young, we're involved in a very fun sport that gets us to travel around the world, but you know, don't wait until you're older to start paying attention to your sleep. You know, now's the time to evaluate it, unjunk it, make it work for you. I mean, do you have that opportunity to have that conversations with other riders?
Yeah, over the years, you know, when I was extremely obsessed with the business side of riding, I would take those riders under my wing and, you know, talk to them about how to grab endorsement deals, or how to compete, and the different techniques that I use during competition. And now that I fell in love with my health and well-being as an athlete, now I'm starting to speak to a lot of the athletes that are coming forth and asking me, hey, I see you getting in shape. Hey, I see you riding better. I've seen that you won the award last year. What are some of the things that you're doing that's really helped you out over the past 2 years? And one of the first things I always mention is sleep. So,
where would you like to see your career go in the future? You seem very grounded in the moment right now, but as you allow yourself to look ahead, you know, what plans do you have for yourself, and how do you think healthy sleep and the things that you've learned will play into them?
You know, it's crazy because when I was a teenager, I thought all the guys in their 20s, I'm like, man, these guys are just too old to be riding. I can't believe they're doing it. And then when I was in my 20s, I couldn't believe the guys that are in their 30s that were still doing it at a high level, competing. And now that I'm approaching my 40s, I'm like, wow, if I start paying attention to all these things like sleep, like my nutrition, and just my overall health, man, I could be doing this into my early 50s, and that's all possible as long as I take care of myself. So really, that's the main focus right now, is just paying attention to those small things that I never did before, and I think that's going to give me a long-lasting career.
So Terry, I think it'd be really interesting. Take us through your day. I would love to know what 24 hours in the life of Terry looks like, and maybe how that has changed since you've focused more on sleep, and also how it changes when you're competing and traveling, how that schedule gets changed.
Yeah, well, when I realized that when I get that full 7 hours of sleep, then I realized that I could kind of manipulate which times I go to bed, and I can start riding earlier. So I go to bed at 9 o'clock and I'm up by 3:50 a.m. every morning, so that gives me like really close to that 7 hours. And as soon as I'm awake, I go straight into like a 25-minute meditation. From there, I do like an hour workout, which I've found it's been great too for me going to sleep at night. After the hour workout, I eat some breakfast and I start riding. And I'm riding every morning by around 7:30. And what that's really done for me is I feel like it's given me a competitive edge over the other athletes that are out there training, because some of those guys, they aren't riding until like 10, 11 o'clock. And by that time, I've already got in my first like hour and a half session. And that's all because I was able to kind of move those sleep times around and prioritize when I do go to bed.
When do you think you athletically peak? You know, if the organizers of the next massive competition came to you and said, Terry, you choose what time of day or night you will ride, when do you feel like you're at your best? What time of day?
I would say in the morning. I would say that 7:30, 8 o'clock session, because at that point I've gotten my 7 hours of sleep. I've already did some meditation. I've already worked out a little bit, and I'm fully awake. So normally my best session throughout the day is that first 7:30 to 9 o'clock session is it's on fire, and I can always feel it.
And when you travel, you arrive in the city a day before the competition, 2 days before? Like how does that work?
What I'll normally do to get on a good sleep regimen, I'll normally try to show up 3 to 5 days before. So sometimes 4, sometimes 5 days before, just to kind of get in the groove of things. So before that qualifying day, I'm getting a good night's rest.
What are your tips, or what things have you found over the years really make a big difference in terms of setting you up for success with travel? You know, are there certain things you bring with you on the plane? Is there a certain way you set up your hotel room? What works best for you?
You know, oddly enough, I just try to keep it exact same as I do at home. So I sleep with no clothes on. At home, I try to be the same, sleep butt naked, you know, and that's always been something that's just helped me for whatever reason. You know, years ago, I noticed just leaving those socks on would just almost give me hot flashes, and I would immediately pull the socks off. And nowadays, the first night that I realized I slept better with no clothes on, I didn't change it.
No sponsor required pajamas of any sort that you have. That's great.
Completely naked, and I sleep better. Yeah.
I love it. There you go. That's a promotional poster right there.
Yeah,
I think.
there you go.
That's good.
Naked Terry.
That's right.
Yeah.